everyone, my name is Irina and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of twin flame separation, why it's needed, and how to cope with it. Anyway, I've been on my twin flame journey and I have come to many realizations and many epiphanies during this journey. I'm here to share with you what I have learned, what I have channeled from my higher self, and I really hope that this information can help you. Twin flame journey is a beautiful journey, but it can also be very challenging, especially during the separation phase. A separation phase is the hardest phase, but it is a very much needed phase, and not all twin flames go into separation, but many do, most do. And again, there is a good reason for that. So maybe understanding the reason for separation will help you shift the perspective on how to approach it. I was able to shift my own perspective as hard as it was for me to be in a separation from my twin flame. I was working on shifting that perspective for a while. And when I did, I finally reached surrender and I stopped chasing my twin flame and I just allow things to be and develop as they are. So separation is much needed for growth and healing. It's actually to the benefit of this connection. So remember, when twin flames come together, a great amount of energy is being generated from both. It's a very high energy connection that also awakens Kundalini in one or both twin flames. This creates a lot of intensity in emotions. People start experiencing emotions that they never experienced before, the runner and the chaser. But divine feminine and divine masculine are processing this connection differently. It is very intense connection for both, and both need to work on their own growth and so the main reason is, of course, for the ego to be broken down, and one or both will go to dark night of the soul, right, or ego death. So ego death, ego stands on the way of unconditional love. Twin flames and high-level soulmates come to this life to experience this beautiful divine love, unconditional love. But what stands on the way is ego, and ego needs to be broken down. And during separation is designed perfectly to trigger. This connection is very triggering, obviously. And one of the reasons separation is happening because both get triggered, as divine feminine gets triggered by divine masculine pulling away. Now, divine masculine pulls away from the connection and runs because of the intensity of this connection and because their own unhealed baggage, wounds, and ego that stands on the way. We need to start looking at separation as a very important step towards union. And it's something that absolutely has to happen for the healing. And that healing has to happen separately. You know, the ego broken down, when ego breaks down, ego death, dark night of the soul is not a pretty thing. So that kind of stuff needs to be happening in separation. You both need that space, and not just your divine masculine. There is this common misconception that divine masculine is not as spiritually advanced as divine feminine, and they need their time. And yes, it is very true that it's possible that there's differences in the levels, in the spiritual levels, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the separation happens because of the divine masculine not being ready for the connection. You both are not ready. We both were not ready for the connection. And I wasn't realizing that at the moment because, again, I was also driven by ego. And of course, my biggest desire was to be with my twin flame. But what I wasn't seeing is that I also wasn't ready. I also needed that time to heal the wounds. I also was not balanced. My feminine energy was not balanced. I was in a wounded feminine energy that was codependent, that was clingy, that was dependent on my divine masculine for my happiness and well-being. This journey is perfectly staged for you. Your soul picked this journey. There is no coincidences. There is no meeting each other at bad time. You came together at the perfect time for your growth and spiritual evolution. Remember, it's a spiritual connection. This connection is so much more than just a romance and an amazing chemistry and all other great things that come with it, right? It's also about growth. It's also about learning, expansion, and contributing into the well-being of this planet, of the collective, and introducing and establishing the legacy of unconditional love. And so again, for this to happen, ego needs to be broken down. Now, each twin flame, when they come together, trigger each other in different ways. And because of this connection is so high energy, high vibrational, anything that's not true within you will need to fall off, which is your false self, which is your ego, which is all the beliefs, conditioning, and things that you have accumulated through the lifetime, right? So all of those things need to be broken down. And each twin flame will highlight the shadows to each other. So because again, nothing false can stand within this connection. It's the connection based on ultimate truth. Each twin flame sees through each other's soul, right? Intuitively knowing things about each other. And so there's no hiding, so to speak. But again, a lot of shadows of each twin flame will be brought to the light by triggering process. And it's absolutely necessary. If you're getting triggered by your twin flame, that means it's your ego that gets triggered. It means it needs to be broken down. It needs to be, the wounds need to be healed before you can proceed on to the next step in this journey. Otherwise, it's not going to be balanced. The connection is not going to be balanced. The connection will be unbalanced. This connection cannot survive when you're in your wounded feminine energy and your divine masculine in his wounded masculine energy. Nothing good's gonna come out of it. So again, when divine masculine pulls away, it triggers divine feminine's wounds of abandonment and any unhealed feminine energy that's in there, right? Because a lot of divine feminines are unbalanced when we come to this connection, and we don't even understand that. We might feel it, but we don't even know that. But this connection is so clever and beautiful that it shows you where you are not balanced. As much as you want to be with your divine masculine, as much as you want this connection to work, very often you come from an unbalanced place. And again, to be balanced, the separation needs to happen. This is also the connection that's very much ruled by your intuition. So no matter what happens in 3D, and no matter what's going on, if your twin flame, if your divine masculine is running from you, ghosting you, this is one of the hardest things for divine feminine to take, because again, we get triggered, our wounds get triggered. Usually the divine feminine is the one that's more intuitive, that's more tuned in with his or her intuition, their intuition. And they're the ones who pursue the connection, who want that connection. And the divine masculines are the ones who are avoidant, who are overwhelmed by the connection. Divine masculines are usually a lot in their heads. They're more logical, they're more mind-based than heart-based. And that's the lesson for the divine masculine during the separation, to come into their own balance also. Divine masculine is just an energy. Remember, it could be a male or female. These are just the labels to label the energy, because in each twin flame pair, there is masculine and feminine, divine masculine, divine feminine. So they're going through a lot of stuff too when in separation. And again, with me, what helped me is I was intuitively feeling what my twin flame is going through. And intuitively, I felt that he had a lot of healing to do, a lot of past wounds. So a lot of divine masculines out there, they have a lot of healing to do. And this connection highlights a lot of what they have to heal. So we divine feminines, this connection triggers a lot of their core wounding. And when that gets triggered, that's when they run. Either it's fear of abandonment or rejection. A lot of divine masculines have that belief that they're not good enough for their divine feminine, because their divine feminine is so perfect for them. So they feel like they're not good enough. And again, guys, you can flip the genders. I'm just talking about energy. It's not him or her. There's a lot of males that are divine feminines out there, and there are a lot of females that are divine masculines. So when divine masculine runs, it's because they are triggered. And they are afraid of abandonment too. A lot of them have unhealed abandonment wounds from childhood or from other lifetimes, and they don't feel like they're good enough. They also have a lot of other wounding, and that's actually affected their self-worth. So they have a lot of them have addictions. A lot of them have addictions to overcome, guilt or shame, feelings of guilt or shame for their past actions, for their past behaviors. Again, they have a lot to unload, and that's overwhelming for them. And they need that loving space to go through their own healing. And you have to allow it for them. You have to allow them to heal at their own pace. Don't try to control, manipulate. Connection brings a lot of beautiful emotions in your divine masculine. It also scares them, this connection. It also makes them run because they're scared of their feelings. Some of them experience feelings that they never experienced before. Some of them never even experienced these intense emotions. So they need that time to process even what they're feeling. They need that time to cave in and retreat. And a lot of divine masculine process these emotions differently. As divine feminines, a lot of us are very free expressing our emotions, right? We're free to talk about our emotions with our friends, with the community, like I'm doing right now, right? But a lot of divine masculines are not. They're not comfortable talking about their feelings. They're not comfortable even feeling their feelings sometimes. They get overwhelmed. And so sometimes they push those feelings on the back burner, right? And they go into their head and they try to analyze this connection and look at it analytically. And when they do, it's not helping them. It's not helping them because they try to analyze it through their logical mind. A lot of divine masculines have so many fears. This connection brings so many fears in them that you have no idea. You have no idea. And they will have to face all of those fears. And it's hard. It's very hard for them. And it's a process. And it takes time. So that's why divine timing exists. What we can do as divine feminines to support our divine masculine is to just allow them to be and feel that unconditional love for them and allow them, just give them that loving space. I like to call it loving space. And just let them be. And don't take their actions personally. Now, what is divine masculine experiencing during separation? A lot of them do experience heavy emotions. Like I said, they can feel a lot of love for their divine feminine that they cannot even describe. Or maybe they never felt it before, so they don't even know what it is, right? They get overwhelmed. But the love is there. On the soul level, the love is always there, right? So remember that. Even if you don't feel loved by your divine masculine because they're not showing that to you in the 3D, they're not showing it because they're running from their own feelings. So they cannot express it. They're not ready to express it. They have to just know that the love is there. And on a soul level, they do love you, but they're just overwhelmed. And they have their own baggage to sort through. They have their own things to sort through. They have their own demons to face. And their journey was also very hard for them. So it's not just hard for you. You're not the only one who's feeling that pain of separation. They feel it on a completely different level, okay? And so for them, their journey is a little bit different. So what happens during the separation for divine feminine? And we're going to talk about how to cope with it, and I'm going to tell you how I coped with it. Codependency. So sometimes we don't even realize how codependent we are. We might act independent and confident, but deep inside, we have this unhealed feminine energy that feels that I need my divine masculine to survive. I need my divine masculine for me to feel good about myself, to be happy, to be joyful. And of course, there's nothing wrong with feeling a sense of completeness with your twin flame. That's how it is. You do feel complete around your twin flame. You do feel very joyful, happy, and at peace, and an elevated state of consciousness, of course. But at the same time, this is the path for us divine feminines to look within and see what is it in us that makes us feel as if we cannot survive without our divine masculine by our side. We need to find our own source of joy and happiness. And it's not external, it's internal. So we have to go within I had to go within and find that happiness within. It really takes you back to Zen spiritualism where nothing external is making you happy. Now, about external. Now, your twin flame in 3D is acting that way, he's pulling away, but remember, for the twin flames and the higher level of soul connections, twin flame is just the label, okay? So higher level of soul connections too, you feel that soul connection on a soul level, right? So you are connected to your twin flame or to your divine masculine, right? To your divine counterpart on a soul level, on energetic level. So separation in a 3D is just the illusion. So going into understanding that you're never really separated from your twin flame or your divine counterpart was a crucial part for me. Coming back to oneness, right? Coming back to that unity consciousness. That is one of the lessons of this journey. And this is why this separation is happening. So you can go within, so you can find that wholeness within. So you're not going to feel like a half of you is missing, and you're not going to feel so codependent on your divine masculine for your happiness. And it's not an easy process. And again, it's very hard to be away from your divine masculine once you experience that wholeness. And this connection also going to trigger your shadows, like the parts of you that were hidden, that you didn't even know that were exist. Or maybe you knew they exist, but your twin flame brought them into light. This connection brought them into light. Or the separation highlighted some of your deepest insecurities, not just wounds, but also insecurities. Also, it will maybe you're going to question your self-worth also during that stage. So this is all the work that has to be done in order to come into union. This is all the ego-based stuff, because on the soul level, we know we are perfect and complete, right? But because we accumulated so much baggage through the lifetime and past lifetimes, because of all the wounding, conditioning, and all the negativity we accumulated, our image of ourselves gets distorted. And so that's when this connection comes in to bring you back into your true self. So anything that's false within you will have to fall off, right? And again, it's not a pretty process. It's a painful process because your ego will resist. Your ego will kick and scream. Your ego would want to blame it on your divine masculine or universe or some whatever, right? Some other force that doesn't want you to be together, or a karmic, So it's almost like you have to have a bigger picture and bigger understanding. This connection is not your standard 3D relationship. You cannot approach it that way. You have to approach it as this is designed for your soul's evolution, not just for the joy and happiness that you are to experience and all the unconditional love you're going to experience with your twin flame. Okay, so it's just so much more than that, and you have to shift that perspective. You have to get out of your head. Listen, if you want your divine masculine to get out of their heads and feel that love for you that they're resisting feeling, if you want them to feel that love for you, you need to do the same, because twin flames mirror each other's behavior on an energetic level, right? So if you want to be the leader in this journey, which divine feminines are often leaders, and so you need to get out of your head too. Not gonna get you anywhere. It didn't get me anywhere. That's when I was like, okay, well, it's not getting me anywhere, so maybe it's time that I focus on me. Okay, so again, this is for the divine feminine. So a lot of healing happens for divine feminine and separation. So again, if you feel like you don't need to be in a separation, trust me, there's things that you yourself need to work on, not just your divine masculine. And this is happening for you. That separation is happening for both of you. And for you, even though you don't see it that way at the beginning, you feel that pain of separation. You have this obsessive thinking, right? You have all this love for your twin flame that you're trying to express. And with them running, it's very hard to see the clear picture, right? It's so much going on emotionally with you and energetically. And remember, if you are going through Kundalini awakening, so you have to have a bigger understanding. So start shifting your perspective from the mind into the soul, into the heart. You can obviously do spiritual practices, research spirituality. If you're already a spiritual person, deepen your spirituality. this is a chance for you. If you're not in spirituality, this is your chance to explore spirituality. There's great literature out there. You can start with Dalai Lama or any basic Zen spiritualist teachers that's gonna teach you that your happiness is not coming from outside. It comes from within. This is the journey within. Of course, your twin flames energy is so addictive. It is so, let me not even go there. Okay. Then it's a completely different video. Okay. That's going to be in the next video. Okay. All about your divine masculine's addictive energy, right? So the divine masculine energy is so addictive to us divine feminines, and that's how it should be. It's magnetic, right? It's hard to stay away, and then activates your core wounding as well. For me, it was an abandonment wound that was not even from this lifetime, but from past lifetimes, where I was abandoned by my twin flame, and I was able to recall some of those lives and heal it this time. But it took me some time. It took me some time to process this, to allow myself to feel these emotions. So this is your chance, divine feminines, this separation, use it to your advantage. Use it to heal so you can come into the union with your divine masculine when the time is right, when you both are ready and you're gonna be the better version of yourself. And you would want to be a better version of yourself or your divine masculine. So obviously shifting the perspective about understanding why separation is happening, and understanding and trusting the process, and trusting that if you two are meant to be together, you will be together when you both are healed, is a step number one. Understanding, not resisting the separation. But what helped me is feeling love, feeling that unconditional love for my divine masculine during separation helped me a lot. I remember every time I would go into my ego phases, I would just, try to push this connection away because I was just so overwhelmed by the pain of separation, because they go side by side, right? If you feel the love for your twin flame, you're also going to feel that pain of separation, right? So because I was avoiding feeling the pain of separation, sometimes I was almost like avoiding feeling love for my twin flame, but I knew like it was impossible for me not to love him. It's like no matter what he would do, like even if he's ghosting me or whatever, like I would still love him. I still had that love. It's just there. It's just there. And then so allowing that love to flow through you without resistance, expressing that love in different ways, if you can, go to be cautious of trying to control your divine masculine's outlook or behaviors. You have to let them be. And I know it's hard, but you have to accept where they are on their journey, and you have to just allow them and let them be as they are. They are also guided by their higher selves. For me, I only came into surrender when I left him alone. I just trusted that he will find his way back to me if this is meant to be, right? He will find his own healing. They need to go through their own things. So leaving them alone and allowing them and empowering them to find their own way out of this darkness is the best thing you can do while feeling unconditional love for your divine masculine, not trying to control or manipulate his behavior or show ego-based tendencies or try to trigger him in some other way. A lot of it happens unconsciously, and that's okay. Like, don't feel bad. But what I'm saying is very often we are trying to fix them. No, don't be a fixer, okay? Focus on you. You have your own stuff to work on. Trust me. Even if you don't agree with me, even if you get triggered by me saying that, you do have some work to do, okay? We all have some work to do. If we didn't, we wouldn't even be here on this planet, okay? So you have your work to do, so use this time to look within, to go within, okay? To create that connection with the divine, to create that connection with God or with the universe, to develop that trust that what's meant to be will be, that you and your twin flame will be together when you both are healed. And you have that faith and trust without being attached to the outcome. You have to let go of attachment. And again, it's not easy, and I know it's not, but once you go through this pain of separation, through these stages, you're gonna start seeing the bigger picture. You will. But in the end, you have to trust that when you're meant to come together, you will. You have to get rid of that fear-based mentality of that. I had so many fears that we're not going to come together. This is it. Like, I had the moments where I would fall into the ego mentality. Even so, I went through my spiritual awakening. You would think I could see the big picture. No, because my wounds were triggered. I sometimes would not see the big picture. I would be in this fear-based mentality, feeling that I'm forever abandoned by twin flame, that he's never coming back for me, that he will never come back, and I'm just left here alone. And I mean, I went through my stage of, suffering. But what I'm saying is, you have to empower yourself and trust that you have the ability to make yourself happy, that you have the ability to find happiness while you're in the separation. You can still find things that make you happy, okay? Either your purpose, or maybe creative expression of your love, or finding, again, new hobbies, new things, giving love to your loved ones. Whatever it is for you, you have to find what makes you happy other than your twin flame. You have to trust your intuition, and you have to look beyond the 3D separation. I already mentioned that, but I cannot highlight it enough that separation only exists in the 3D. In the 5D, you're always connected with your divine counterpart. Okay, so you already are together. You already are in union. When I started approaching that way, it helped me a lot. And I felt like I felt more connected to my twin flame than ever before, where my mind wouldn't create this separation, because the mind creates this separation, right? The conditioning, the wounding, and understand that if you're meant to be, you will be. And these connections are supposed to challenge your ego in many ways. As painful as separation is, it is temporary, and again, it's just an illusion.